Behind the scenes with the Hanover Theater, and let's dive right in because obviously there is a lot that is happening, and we've been getting a lot of good information from the city. It's good now to hear from our arts community and find out what is happening at the Hanover Theater. This has all just happened so fast, so quickly. Troy Siebels is with us, President CEO of the Hanover, Artistic Director. And Troy, thanks so much for being with us here this morning, taking us behind the scenes at the Hanover Theater, so aptly named. What is happening behind the scenes? What do we need to know?
I'd say it's we're going through the same thing in real time that everybody else is going through, and we're all experiencing it together, which makes us so unique. It's shut our doors for a while, and so we're kind of hunkering down and planning ahead for the future. And we're grateful to those folks that have stepped up. You know, we've canceled a bunch of shows, and a lot of people from those shows have allowed us to turn those tickets rather than take a refund into a contribution, which helps us keep our staff working and planning for the future. So we're grateful for that.
That is fantastic. What a great gesture on the part of people to do that. Troy, these shows, some of them will be rescheduled, or is this more of a, unfortunately, we've lost that opportunity for some of these?
Well, there are some of both, unfortunately. Some, like Ricky Duran, was to perform a week from today. He'll be back in June. We've rescheduled that date. There are others, like Celtic Woman and the Russian National Ballet, that canceled and were not able to reschedule, at least this year. I hope that they'll come back next year and after, but we're not going to see them this spring, unfortunately.
Troy, I don't know. Logistically, I can't even imagine what this is like behind the scenes at the Hanover, because it isn't as if there is a firm date when, okay, everything will be better, everybody will open back up. It is such a fluid situation.
For sure. You know, we've canceled and rescheduled performances as far out as the state has gone in the mandate. You know, it said close down things through April 6th. I think looking at the news and recommendations from the CDC, we're certainly expecting that it may well go beyond that. And so we're making plans and provisions so that we are able to cancel and reschedule shows past that. But we kind of feel like we need to take it a day at a time right now. We don't know how long this is going to last any more than anyone else does.
Troy, no, I mean, there was no one who has tested positive has any type of a connection to the theater. The theater has already been shut down. Nobody who may have at some future date, test positive from any of the shows, but the shows did not come into the theater. Given that,
that's right.
Is the theater still going to undergo some sort of a deep cleanse before April 6th or whatever it is? Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, we've already done that, and we're doing it, and we're doing it again. We're doing a full top to bottom deep cleanse. We were prepared to be doing that between performances back when we were in the early stages of this, and we had hired an additional cleaning company to come in and handle some of the routine stuff so that our staff could really do the deep cleaning and all the surfaces that get touched, the bathrooms, the railings, the armrests, and with the alcohol solution. And so we had already gone through those measures, and now, as it turns out, as those performances aren't happening, we had already been doing some of that cleaning work, and we're continuing it. So there's not going to be a germ within a quarter of a mile of the building before the next person steps into it.
Yeah, and I don't mean to laugh, but I mean it is our mindset right now. We find ourselves doing the same thing. Now, it's just me. I am sitting in a room with a microphone. I came in, I wiped everything down. I obsessively, before I sat down to speak with you, because we had a couple of minutes, I mean, I did like another, pulled out the Clorox wipe and did a quick clean. I'm not sure what could have gotten dirty in the couple of hours, but I mean, it is our mindset right now, and so the fact that it's probably going to have been cleaned a few times, even though nobody has really come into the theater for a few weeks before it opens up. And I don't know, it's probably good for our psyche, too. It's just there are a lot of surfaces, obviously. Troy, you brought in companies to do that deep clean. you have so many great volunteers, and I think people know this, but the ushers are people who volunteer. They love the theater. They're wonderful. They're the people who greet us. They're so knowledgeable about everything. What are they? How are they reacting? What have you heard from some of them? Because this is a blow to them too. It's a big part of their life and their family, their theater family, to be able to go each night and see us at these shows.
Yeah, it's true. We had been hearing from some of them before, again, back in the early stages of this crisis, which seems like a year ago now, yet it's only a couple of weeks ago, that some were more comfortable coming in than others to be at performances before those performances were canceled. And as you know, many of our volunteers are older adults. And so we had already been sort of doing some rescheduling to say, hey, don't worry about it. If you're not comfortable coming in, please don't come in. And so, they have not been in the building at all in the last couple of weeks after these performances started being canceled. We haven't asked them to come in and do cleaning or anything like that. I think it's hard to generalize, but as a group, I think that, they are concerned like the rest of us are concerned. And the more they can hang out at home and take themselves out of the risk of making the situation worse. You talk, Hank, about the what feels like overkill sometimes. We're cleaning and then cleaning the clean surface and then cleaning it again. But I think the sooner we're able to slow this thing, the sooner we'll all be back to life as we knew it. And so I feel good about that. I feel good about it because if we catch one little thing, then that'll be one little piece closer to being through this.
No, absolutely. And I really, it does. Somehow it helps my psyche. I feel I want to do something, so at least I feel as if, well, I cleaned the microphone. I cleaned the microphone again, but at least I feel as if I am doing something. And to that, just to our overall kind of mental health and well-being, I said this last week to you as well, Troy. But I think about it quite a bit. Ben, who is here with me, he loves March Madness. He looks forward to that. That did not start this week the way that it was supposed to. So something that would normally be able to take his mind off of something and get him through wasn't there. And I said this last week, for a lot of people, times are tough, but man, they're looking forward to that show, or they were looking forward to Ricky Duran, and they got their tickets, and you're excited when you get your tickets, and you're excited, leading up to the performance, and then the big day is finally there, and you make all these, these plans to, who you're going with and where I'm going to eat before. And now we're just sort of left with the coronavirus. We'll lean on you. Do you have some theater-esque tips for some things that maybe we can be watching this weekend, or some things to help us get through it?
Well, I'll tell you, the theater community, we're in a business that is about bringing people together. We're in a business that's about bringing people together for a shared experience, and so that's clearly something that has become a weapon in this world. But we are also a community of people that has pulled out all the stops to keep some semblance of that going online. If you do a little Google search, there's a Broadway actress who felt bad for the high school performances that were canceled, and so she's asked the high school performers to post a little piece of their performance online. There's a hand-washing challenge that the Theater Mania put out, and Broadway actors and actresses are washing their hands for 20 seconds while they sing a song. There's so much community online. I think that it's hard to get your socialism out of a screen. I don't mean socialism, but I think that you can feel coming out of it just the humanity that's there.
Exactly. We are all in it together. We are trying just to get through this and trying to come up with some things. We're going to ask you. I'm going to put you on the spot here. This is something that we asked earlier on Talk of the Commonwealth. I don't know. I kept coming up with like the Andromeda Strain and pandemic movies, but if you want to give us a movie, a book, a CD that you love that gets you through the weekend, or times it's sort of our own desert island discs that gets you through the pandemic, or times of when you have to be just kind of holed up. What are some things that might pop to mind?
I'm a reader, so I tend to go to the books, and I read biographies a lot. Sometimes like this, it's good to just read a good old thriller or something that has not a lot of depth to it. I have young kids in the house, so in terms of movies, I'm just grateful to Disney for releasing Frozen 2 or ahead of schedule. That's been a lifesaver for us.
May I just it has been. May I just say that my youngest is at home with us. She is 28 years old. I have seen that movie and portions thereof 4 times already. I have songs that I didn't even know existed that are now stuck in my head. So I mean, yes, but I appreciate the fact that Disney and everybody is kind of doing that as well. Troy, what else do we need to know about what is happening with Hanover Theater?
I think that just we all need to have a little empathy in these times. Reach out and acknowledge that organizations around you, whether that be the restaurant down the street or the Hanover Theater or the museum that you go to once in a while, are all going through some hard times. If you're able to go out and buy a gift certificate to a place that you frequent so that it'll help them get over the hump, I hope that folks will give some consideration to doing that. We all want to come back to the world we left.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think sometimes people forget that the Hanover is a nonprofit as well.
We are exceptionally nonprofit. That's right.
So I mean that is being being able to help out there as well. Troy, thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Not at all. Thanks, Hank.
Troy Siebels is the president and CEO of the Hanover Theater. It's Behind the Scenes with the Hanover Theater. We have more to come. Behind the Scenes at the Hanover Theater continues. Megan Montaner is the Director of Education at the Hanover Theater. She joins us now to fill us in on that portion of what is happening as we are all hunkering down for what may be the long haul here. Each day we're not getting, listen, each day that we do what we are supposed to do and wash our hands and social distancing, another day that gets us closer to being able to get back to the theater. Megan, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Megan, let's talk a little bit, just give us a little bit of an overview of your job as the Director of Education, what it is that you do.
Sure. So I manage all of the education outreach programs for the theater. So a lot of that has to do with the work that we're doing outside of the building or ways that we're bringing members of the community into the building. But I also run our Conservatory for the Performing Arts, which has classes in music, drama, dance, and technical theater and design.
I was just talking about this with Troy. I mean, unfortunately, one of the real hard things about what we're going through right now is that would be a perfect outlet for young people, and people of all ages, but young people and others to be able to say, well, at least I have my classes that I love so much to be able to go to. Unfortunately, we're shut down. Everything is shut down. How are some of the, particularly maybe some of the younger students reacting to all of this?
Sure. I think a lot of our students are feeling pretty isolated right now, but some of them are taking advantage of resources that they can find online and trying to, be in touch with one another that way. We're really excited to be starting online classes next week for them so that we can get them back into at least a virtual classroom online. And so we've been working hard with our faculty and sort of surveying and figuring out what our students' capabilities are for joining us for online classes starting on Monday.
Megan, tell us a little bit about how that will work to have that virtual classroom.
Sure. So we're going to be doing this on Zoom, so it'll be sort of like a large meeting happening online where the teachers can see all of their students and the students can see one another and see their teacher. The program that we're using, Zoom, has some really great features where there's a waiting room that you can have people kind of hanging out in before class, or you can allow them to enter class before the teacher so that our students will still get sort of that dynamic of a hallway chat before they start class. That's one of the things we've been really mindful of is not only the instruction that they're currently missing, but also the social interaction that they're missing at this time. And so our effort to get these classes up online is not only to continue their creativity and their training and development physically, but also to help them with their social emotional health right now as these kids are really looking at 4 walls at home and looking for some way to connect again with their peers. So, yeah, the online platform we're really excited about.
Yes, I mean, such a great point. Social distancing, but we don't we don't want to lose that social aspect. It just means that there has to be this physical distance, unfortunately, but between us. But we do want to keep that socialization, and particularly at that age, it is so important. And everybody will just start to go a little bit crazy after a while. So this is wonderful. I got to tell you, Megan, I feel like such a dinosaur. A week ago, I didn't really know what Zoom was. Now everybody is, it's all Zoom all the time. Everybody's doing everything with Zoom. It's terrific.
Yes, it really is, and we're lucky to be in a day and age where we can take advantage of technology and take advantage of these resources and offer them to our students so that, this too shall pass, and we'll get through it and get to the other side, and it won't be without that continuous connection to them.
Yeah, now this is really going to present a challenge for you and the instructors. And I'm just kind of curious, as you've spoken with some of the instructors behind there, it's not as if in class, you can come up and say, okay, well, wait a minute, put your leg this way, or I need to see more of this, because it will be a little bit different through Zoom.
It will. And we've been talking with our instructors. We all took part in a webinar last Saturday talking about how to execute performing arts education online and best practices. We've had a number of follow-up phone calls and Zoom meetings with our faculty, showing them how to use the features that it offers, and really talking about, okay, knowing that we need to be positive and creative, what are some of the challenges that we know that we're going to face? And so that's what we've been working on all week, and that's why we suspended classes just for this week so that we could really prepare and answer some of those questions for our faculty and work together as a team to figure out how to overcome some of those obstacles. I think what we offer, the real strength that we offer, is that we know our students. Our faculty works with them weekly, and sometimes for some of these kids, they're working with them daily. And so they can offer them those insights that, hey, we always talk about this in class. Are you, so-and-so, are you remembering to turn out? Are you remembering, to follow through in this motion or this movement? They're familiar with the kids. They're familiar with their strengths and their weaknesses and how to guide them. So I hope that this will be, temporary, and so we can continue these classes and continue training these students and really fostering that love and appreciation for the performing arts. That is our reason for doing what we do.
Exactly. Yeah. No. The whole love for the arts and all that Hanover has brought to the area over the last 10 years. I love the fact that you're going to be you're finding a way to continue, whether it's for the next couple of weeks or longer. I won't say, how long each day it seems like maybe it'll be a little bit longer. Can I ask you, and I know that this is probably going to be asking something hard, because to maybe brag on yourself in the program a little bit. Over the last couple of years, have you seen, because of this training that is going on at the Hanover Theater, do you think, there must be a rise then in the level of the theatrical productions? Listen, I can remember when in high school, and we put on the high school show, and then we all thought that we should be headed to Hollywood and Broadway and everywhere else because, man, it was the most amazing thing. And then you see the video and you sort of cringed and said, oh, all right, maybe we weren't quite Broadway ready. But, the kids today, the training that you're giving them, I would think that just the level of productions going on even in the high schools and things must just be rising up.
We hope so. And I would tell you to, remember that live performance and live entertainment is nothing. There's no way to compare it with a video. So when you look back at your high school shows, don't be too critical, because it doesn't compare to being in that auditorium and feeling the emotion that all the students are bringing. But yes, that's, we certainly hope that that's something that we're doing, is rising that level. We see it a lot in our students that we have in classes throughout the year, and then we watch them perform and use those skills during the summer in our summer program. And I'm always amazed at the amount of growth that you see in them over the course of a year, and the way that they take the skills and the study that they've been gaining throughout the year and use those to really execute a fine performance. And for our technical students as well, they're really bringing those skills that they're learning in lighting design and stage management back to their high school programs to really up the ante for those programs and say, hey, this is how we should be doing it. And even if I don't have a mentor at the school who, studied technical theater, and maybe my director was primarily a performer, actor, but they didn't know the technical side, these students are able to come back to their school with some real serious training and take advantage of, for some of these newly built schools, really take advantage of the technology that is in their hands with some knowledge and real training from our faculty here.
That's a great point. I mean, these theaters at the high schools are just absolutely beautiful now for some of those new theaters being built. Megan, fantastic. Great job that Hanover is doing to make sure that the kids aren't going to feel too isolated, all the students, and best of luck with the classes beginning on Monday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Megan Montaner is with us, and we appreciate the fact that she was able to join us, tell us a little bit about what is going to be happening behind the scenes. This really was behind the scenes of what is happening at the Hanover Theater. So we're very pleased that both Troy Siebels, President and CEO of the Hanover Theater, and also Megan Montaner, the Director of Education, were able to join us today. We'll do it all again next week on Friday between 9 and 9:30 behind the scenes with the Hanover Theater.